Greetings, this is Kerry Shamblin with the July 2023 Astrological forecast. First, let's hear a summary for the 9 planets. The Sun finishes his month in Gemini, which stretches from June 15th to July 16th, and moves into the watery sign of Cancer from July 16th through August 17th. The first half of July highlights the sign of Gemini, an air sign with dual tendencies. Things may still feel a bit up in the air or busy during this time. It is a good time to manage many small tasks and focus on reorganization. When Sun enters Cancer for the latter half of July, the feeling may shift toward a desire for doing the work of reconciliation and aligning the tendencies of the heart and mind. The full moon in Sagittarius on June 3rd shines light on the dynamic nature of growth, learning, and wisdom. This is a good time to take account of how life's lessons are landing and settling into practical routines. The new moon comes after the waning cycle, landing on June 17th in the sign of Cancer. This could be a time of vulnerability due to depletion. Pay attention to what feels nourishing versus what feels too costly. July 2023 shows Mars in a powerful position, moving through Leo from June 30th through August 18th. Tension that has been building up through late May could find a release valve, ready or not. The feeling of pushing and pulling may become strong through July, with many notable influences coming into the sign of Leo. Be strategic about when and where to apply force. The third week of July seems potent and tricky in this regard. This could be a tussle between seemingly defunct tradition pushing back against the demand for rapid innovation. Mercury, the communication and exchange official, will be slowing down as he plunges into Cancer from July 7th to the 24th. Mercury's forte is fast thinking and data analysis. The environment of Cancer can force a slower pace. It's a great time to take a work vacation. When Mercury enters Leo on July 24th, it will be to stay for a while, due to an upcoming retrograde that starts in August. This could be an indication that July is a good month to release what is weighing you down in anticipation of lots of change on the horizon. Jupiter transits Aries from April 21st, 2023 through April 30th, 2024 for 1 year in Mars's fiery first sign of the zodiac. Jupiter's presence and aspects are considered to be beneficial and positive. Through April 2024, we get this warm, glowing energy in the fire signs because of Jupiter's placement, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. And we also feel it in Libra. The domains of life that these signs occupy in an individual chart could find some positive growth. In July, Jupiter begins to grow away from some of the intense influences that have been making it difficult to get a clean break. Venus is in the hot seat during July, moving through Leo from July 7th through August 7th. Leo is a fire sign, currently receiving lots of mixed influences that could set the stage for some dramatic scenes in July. Venus has been traveling close with Mars during the past couple months and will slow down and start a retrograde cycle on July 22nd. Since Venus governs relationships and creative endeavors, we may see some reversals in this department starting in late July and continuing into August. Saturn will occupy his air sign Aquarius through March 2025. Saturn's influence can feel weighty and significant, sometimes bringing challenges that urge us to become more resilient, patient, and determined. Saturn's heavy vibes may be a bit faster and lighter through October due to Saturn in a retrograde phase. This creates an interesting framework for the current moment, indicating that we may have to twist our plans and strategies a bit in order to make things work for the greater good. In July, with other planets moving into Leo, Saturn plays the role of creating resistance that could feel obstructive, yet eventually lead to exciting innovations. The ingenious but unpredictable energy of Rahu continues to ignite the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. The nodal axis is made up of Rahu the head and Ketu the tail of the cosmic dragon, and moves in tandem reverse motion, churning our lives. Rahu is in Aries through late October 2023. Rahu pairing up with Jupiter after the other party members have moved on creates a strong inflationary energy that will be traveling into the other fire signs, most notably Leo, through October. The Venus and Mars tango going on in Leo could be very spicy due to this Rahu injection from Aries. Expect changes of heart and mind more than once. Ketu, the silent counterpart of Rahu, will remain in Venus's air sign, Libra, through late October 2023. The effects of Ketu can feel like obstruction, blindness, or reversal of situations. Libra is under the strong aspect of Jupiter from Aries, and we may feel some release of tension in July as compared to June, as Mars moves out of pushing strongly on Libra. This could help in maintaining inner calm and enhancing trust in intuitive directions. Fall back on this firm inner knowing when navigating the dramatic energy that is being created by the Mars-Venus pairing through July. For an in-depth analysis of specific planetary placements, please continue to listen to the full planetary forecast. Mars in Leo, June 30th through August 18th. As the calendar flips to July, Mars moves out of Cancer and into Leo for a 40-day trip through the Sun's domain of Leo. Generally, Mars excels while in Leo, showing strength and strategy. This summer, due to a handful of impactive aspects from other planets, Mars's Leo transit from July through mid-August could really fire us up. Leo is currently the recipient of the combined energy of retrograde Saturn from Aquarius and the Rahu plus Jupiter pairing in Aries. This creates what may feel like environmental influences of confused desire, demands for foundational flexibility, and continued attempts to make robust, sustainable growth. The passion created by the nearness of Venus to Mars could begin to subside after Venus begins a retrograde cycle on July 22nd. This time period could reflect separation that could feel relieving, whether it be a relationship leveling up and benefiting from a redesign, or a long-needed break after a gooey separation process. By late July, Venus moves away from Mars, and Mercury moves toward Mars, with Mercury's pace having slowed his movement down in preparation for a retrograde cycle in late August. Mercury moves in to work with Mars, which could signal a shift in focus from an attraction phase to a transaction phase. By August, decisions will have been made and plans approved for the work and play going forward. Full moon in Sagittarius, Purvashada, July 3rd. The full moon in Sagittarius each summer marks the celebration of Guru Purnima, which translates as full moon of the Guru, Guru being a word that corresponds both with teachers and with the planet Jupiter. Sagittarius is the fire sign ruled by Jupiter, and the moon becomes full there each year when opposite the sun transiting through Gemini, the sign associated with students. This annual recognition of the relationship between student and teacher invites us to shine a light on all who hold and share knowledge and wisdom. Pay respect to your teachers, your lineages, and your educational supporters during this full moon that falls on Monday, July 3rd. Sagittarius and the moon will be receiving the compound influence of Jupiter and Rahu during this time. This could bring a form of the teacher archetype in an unexpected or unconventional way. Venus in Leo, July 7th through August 7th. Venus moves into Leo, joining Mars on July 7th, and from there slows her speed, stationing for retrograde motion on July 22nd at 5 degrees Leo. The quality of retrograde motion is embodied by the nodes of the moon, whose axis always rotates them in retrograde motion. This retrograde station of Venus is exactly aspected by Rahu from Aries, showing the potential for a notable turnaround, especially for horoscopes whose natives have strong placements around both 5 degrees Aries and 5 degrees Leo. This transit can create a passionate backdrop for current scenes. Venus in Leo can be quite creative and performative. With the addition of Mars to the mix, there is a powerful tension that arises with the interaction of fiery Mars and watery Venus. As if this wasn't enough for the recipe, we have the trio of heavy-hitting aspects coming in from into Leo, from Rahu and Jupiter in Aries, and from retrograde Saturn in Aquarius. This could be a lot. Prepare in advance for this potential by not overscheduling, allowing space for the chemistry going on between Mars and Venus, and the wild energy surrounding it all. Mercury in Cancer from July 8th through the 24th. After a quick jaunt across a few different signs in June, Mercury makes his way across watery Cancer from July 8th through the 24th. This puts intellectual Mercury into the waters of the emotional moon, giving us a chance to get some emotional perspective and to analyze things from a new angle. Mercury, as ruler of transactions, markets, exchanges, and communication, could perhaps allow us to step back from all of those things when this transit comes along. It is a good time to detangle emotions from business and make wise decisions before they become urgent. This is somewhat of a backstage feeling, with Mercury preparing to enter the stage upon transiting to Leo on July 24th, joining the dramatic pairing of Venus and Mars. This is a good time to bone up on details, study lines, journal your feelings, and make sense of the difficulties that seem to surround you. Sun in Cancer from July 16th through August 17th. In the midst of Mercury's dash through Cancer, the Sun follows steadily behind, moving through Cancer from July 16th through August 17th. Just as Mercury is enjoying some pre-stage time, so can the Sun during this transit. It may feel good to enjoy home during this time, gathering strength and direction as you prepare to present your next phase of creation. Again, this current environment of Cancer certainly gives the sense of safely home, especially due to the fact that Cancer is currently receiving no negative or positive aspects, which simplifies the expression of the energy of the planet who is transiting through. This will be true for both Mercury and the Sun during July. New moon in Cancer, Punarvasu, July 17th. To further highlight the cradle of Cancer at this time, the new moon joins the Sun at 1 degree of Cancer, in the 4th pada of Punarvasu Nakshatra on July 17th. This feels very vulnerable and emotional, where the hopeful light of Punarvasu transitions from the airy Gemini into the watery Cancer, bringing our attention to the emotional depths that always challenge the positive effects of the constant light of the Sun. This is a good moment to mine deeply for your own source of emotional strength that can adapt to any situation, keeping you steady as you bob up and down in the waves of life's ocean. Make the resolution to learn the right balance of going with the flow and insisting on a certain direction. The 3rd week of July could get a bit choppy with some tight aspects and retrograde interactions. Venus retrograde, July 22nd through September 3rd. As with any other planet's retrograde motion, the upcoming stretch of Venus's retrograde from July 22nd to September 3rd could open some opportunities to recreate, reconnect, and revive, while Venus retraces her current transit path from 5 degrees Leo back to 19 degrees of Cancer, giving us a runway for a redo come September. Early July sees Venus brightly displaying in the western sky after sunset, and this will be the last big showing of Venus as the evening star for the remainder of 2023. By early August, retrograde Venus will disappear from view and reappear at the end of August as the morning star, showing up in the eastern sky before sunrise. These retrograde phases of Venus reorder the sequence of the Sun and Venus in the zodiac as observed from Earth. Once Venus assumes morning star status, it remains there until March 2024. With Venus ruling the realms of relationship, romance, creativity, and social interactions, this retrograde phase could be ripe for reassessing those indications in your life. From the last week of July and through August, Venus retraces her recent steps. Venus shifts from Leo back to Cancer on August 7th, which also moves Venus into a combustion state with the Sun, meaning she disappears temporarily from our sight. We will then have some backstage Venus moments to recreate, re-relate, and revive. Mercury transits Leo July 24th through October 1st. Fast-moving Mercury finally catches up with his friend Venus, newly retrograde, as he enters Leo on July 24th. Venus may be trading Mars's company for Mercury's during this last week of July and into the first week of August, when the dynamic duo of Mercury and Venus will be buzzing about in Magha Nakshatra. This could lead to a series of events that feels confusing, overwhelming, exciting, and speedy. Let's really understand how many influences may be affecting the sign of Leo during this time, especially the first part of Leo, which is covered by the nakshatra Magha, ruled by Ketu. The combination of Sun ruling Leo and Ketu ruling Magha for this zone of the zodiac is quite interesting, almost making an environment of the individual being eclipsed by the demands of the past. Magha is also ruled by the Pitris, the spirits of our ancestors. From Aries, Rahu is directly aspecting the early degrees of Leo, bringing in unexpected shifts and frustrating confusion. From Aries, Jupiter is also hitting Leo, which can be considered positive and working to balance out the rocky influence of Rahu. From Aquarius, retrograde Saturn is also pushing Leo. At this point, Saturn is sometimes pushing and sometimes pulling, again creating the effect of too many possibilities or choices that seem to cause internal and external conflict in every direction. And in the environment of Leo, we will see Mercury, retrograde Venus, and Mars, which creates a great deal of activity, energy, and power. We may experience the desire to really work through things, but in the face of obstacles, unexpected situations, and burdensome responsibilities, which all combined with fierce positivity. Knowing this ahead of time, prepare to be flexible, agile, and flowing as you navigate through these times. Mercury's entrance into Leo isn't for a brief stay, in contrast to Mercury moving through 3 signs in June. Due to a retrograde period from August 23rd through September 15th, which takes Mercury from the late degrees of Leo back to the mid-range, Mercury will tack his way back and forth through Leo until October 1st. Mercury slows down in August, inviting us to do the same. With the many influences coming into Leo, this could be the best plan. Production could actually increase by working at a slower pace during late July and August. Saturn, Jupiter, and Rahu hold ground through November. As described above with the aspects coming into Leo, we have a tandem effect of Rahu and Jupiter pushing from Aries and Saturn pushing from Aquarius. This is creating a notable structure, and with Saturn retrograde through October, it may feel like a stretched out version of that moment when you trick your kid into thinking that you are still holding on to their bicycle seat, but they are really riding on their own. An exact opposition of Saturn and Mars comes from July 20th through July 22nd. This is a point in time to put on the radar, with a few notable transits showing up around this time in addition to this opposition. Saturn and Mars interactions can feel like a strong push-pull effect, and with Saturn retrograde, this could feel even more intense. Coupled with Venus taking retrograde motion on July 22nd, and Mercury entering Leo on July 24th, we may feel we are dealing with some fallout during the last week of July. Be ready to break out of holding patterns and prepare for both landings and takeoffs in July. Until next month, take care and enjoy.